Hello everyone, welcome to our channel. The concept of degeneracy is often used to describe someone who has lost the moral qualities that society or an individual considers necessary. Some forms of degeneracy are natural and unavoidable, such as aging or death. However, other forms of degeneracy result from personal choices, such as how we care for and develop ourselves. In this case, degeneracy refers to the loss of core values like honesty, self-control, and humility. From this perspective, a person considered degenerate is someone who lives below the ideal moral standard, although that standard may vary from person to person. However, labeling someone or something as degenerate can be a subjective matter. For example, a person with a very rigid value system might view most people as degenerate, while a more open-minded person may be less aware of degeneracy or perceive it in a completely different way. Therefore, ethics can sometimes be subjective and vary depending on perspective. Ancient philosophers developed an ethical system based on reason, with the goal of living in harmony with nature and the universal principle of reason. The Stoic philosophers, such as Seneca, Epictetus, and Marcus Aurelius, believed that virtue is the ideal way to live, and they clearly distinguished between virtues and vices. From the Stoic perspective, a person living in sin and lacking virtue can be considered degenerate. This video will present a few examples of degeneracy in Stoic thought, or in other words, ways of living incorrectly that lead to an unhappy life. Stoic ethics perspective. The goal of Stoic philosophy is to live in harmony with nature. However, living according to nature does not mean abandoning society or living outside it, but rather understanding the laws of the universe and acting rationally to live a useful and meaningful life. Stoics believe that the universe is governed by reason, and that every event occurs according to a perfect cosmic plan created by a great power they call Zeus. Zeus created the universe and all living beings within it with specific characteristics and relationships. Humans, according to Stoic philosophy, differ from other creatures due to their superior ability to reason. Reason allows us to understand and act in accordance with the order of the universe, enabling us to make the right decisions for our lives. Therefore, to develop ourselves, Stoics believe that we must live in harmony with our true nature, live according to natural principles, and accept our fate, all of which are part of Zeus's cosmic plan. If a person does not live according to reason and nature, they will fall into a life of sin and degeneracy. To better understand this, Stoic philosophers have established a system of virtues with 4 key virtues: wisdom, justice, courage, and self-control. In contrast to these virtues, there are vices, including ignorance, injustice, cowardice, and lack of self-control. Below are some examples illustrating degeneracy from the Stoic ethical perspective. Desire. In his famous essay on the shortness of life, Seneca presents a strong viewpoint about those who live only to seek the gratification of their desires. He directly criticizes those driven by passion, arguing that they not only live without control, but also lose themselves in an endless pursuit of fleeting pleasures. How many are pale from constant pleasures? This statement by Seneca not only refers to the outward appearance, but also reflects a deeper reality. These people have lost their vitality by chasing after temporary needs that are easily satisfied. According to Seneca, those tempted by trivial desires will never find true peace of mind, as they are constantly swept up in waves of endless craving. The short-term pleasures they seek only drain them, like ships without a harbor, always carried away by the wind. They lose the ability to decide their own life and become puppets, confused in the hands of fate and temptation. These individuals, Seneca asserts, are not only weak, but also lack the mental strength to face life's true challenges. Seneca not only disparages those controlled by desire, but also asserts that they are even inferior to those driven by anger, dreams of glory, or those who engage in war. While these people might bring destruction and suffering to others, they at least have ideals and purposes they pursue. Even if those purposes are misguided, at least they act for something greater than themselves. In contrast, those living solely to satisfy their desires have no ideals. They have no clear goals, only chasing desires they cannot control. Their lives become a series of reactions to short-term cravings, rather than a journey with meaning and purpose. To escape the trap of desire, Seneca advises us to focus on self-control and live a rational life. He argues that true happiness does not come from satisfying material needs or short-term desires, but from living a purposeful life, a life that we actively control. In this way, we can live a life not governed by external factors, but instead find true freedom from desires and from the irrelevant things. When we are no longer controlled by meaningless cravings, we can live a life of meaning, a life that is truly our own. Acceptance of reality. In life, we cannot always control everything. Some things happen that we don't want and cannot change. However, instead of struggling against these things, we should learn to accept reality. When faced with difficulties or failure, feelings of regret and complaints will only exhaust and drain us. Seneca, in his letters to his friend Lucilius, pointed out that we cannot change events that have already happened, but we can certainly adjust our response to them. The reality that certain things cannot be changed is an unavoidable part of life. Fighting against them only increases stress and disappointment. Seneca offers a powerful perspective. We cannot reform the gods or change the laws of the natural order of the universe. However, what we can do is reform ourselves. Instead of fighting with fate, Seneca advises us to focus on living in harmony with what cannot be changed. When we accept what is beyond our control and stop resisting, we will feel more peaceful and free. Acceptance does not mean giving up or accepting passively, but understanding that some things are inevitable and we can only adjust our perspective and reaction to them. One of Seneca's key pieces of advice is, nothing is truly bad if we do not allow it to affect our mind and emotions. This means that we must maintain calm and inner control, even when everything around us seems difficult. Learning to accept is an important part of personal development. It helps us break free from the control of negative emotions and gives us the strength to face life more resiliently. Accepting reality in this way helps us learn from mistakes, failures, and challenges we face. Seneca also affirms that it is not the event or circumstance that determines our life, but how we react to them. Therefore, instead of wallowing in suffering, learning how to accept and respond appropriately helps us find inner strength and grow from life's hardships. The liar. One day at a lecture by Epictetus in Nicopolis, a scholar stood up and confessed a painful truth. He had betrayed his wife's trust. Rather than offering gentle advice, Epictetus confronted him directly and uncompromisingly. He did not merely criticize the act of infidelity, but deeply condemned what it revealed: weakness, lack of self-control, and a loss of direction in life. According to Epictetus, such actions are not only violations against others, but also betrayals of the self, as they erode the respect one should have for oneself. Epictetus explained that each individual has a mission, a task in life they must follow, which is to live an ethical and fulfilled life. When one deceives, they not only destroy their relationships, but also squander the opportunity to grow, develop, and fulfill their true purpose. In Epictetus's view, infidelity is not a minor mistake, but a serious failure in self-mastery. What will you have left when trust is broken, when love is betrayed? Epictetus questions, how can you look into the mirror and call yourself a person of dignity if you cannot maintain your integrity? Additionally, Epictetus criticizes the societal impact of such behavior. In a society where individuals cannot trust one another, it cannot thrive or endure. He points out that honesty is essential for the development and prosperity of any community. If people do not respect their commitments and responsibilities, the entire social structure will crumble. If you cannot be trusted in the closest of relationships, how can you hope to be a valuable member of a larger society? Epictetus asks, and these words resonate as a warning to us all. Ultimately, Epictetus doesn't stop at merely condemning infidelity. He expands the issue, urging the scholar to reflect on why he had fallen into the trap of desire and weakness. For Epictetus, infidelity is a manifestation of impatience, a compromise with fleeting emotions, and being drawn to temptations beyond one's control. It is a grave mistake, not only a matter of personal ethics, but also a loss of self. Find your true self, Epictetus advises. Do not let trivial desires and thoughtless actions control your life. For Epictetus, maintaining honesty and faith is not just a duty to others, but a responsibility to oneself. It is the only way to live a meaningful life and achieve true happiness. Any act of deceit, whether small or large, is a setback in the pursuit of spiritual prosperity. Therefore, to him, every act of betrayal is a blow to our very essence, weakening core values and obscuring the path to a fulfilling life. Lying in bed all day. We all need rest to maintain our energy and productivity. However, some people allow themselves to become engulfed in laziness, spending too much time lying down and avoiding responsibility. Marcus Aurelius in his Meditations could not accept laziness, and he viewed it as a state that conflicts with human nature. To him, each individual is born with a grand purpose, not for comfort, but to carry out the work and duties that nature has assigned. One of the prominent questions Marcus poses to himself is about the difficulty of getting up early. In Chapter 5 of Meditations, he writes about the feeling of sleepiness and hesitation when he must leave his bed. At first, he justifies the choice to stay in bed by saying that it is simply more comfortable. However, shortly after, he challenges himself with a deep question. Were you born just to seek comfort? This question serves as a wake-up call, reminding him that the purpose of life is not to indulge in ease, but to overcome laziness and fulfill one's duties with seriousness. Marcus Aurelius continues to question himself and refuses to succumb to the comfort of idleness. He writes, "Agreed, but nature set a limit on that as it did on eating and drinking. And you're over the limit. You've had more than enough of that, but not of working. There you're still below your quota. You don't love yourself enough. Or you'd love your nature too, and what it demands of you. People who love what they do wear themselves down doing it. They even forget to wash or eat." We often hear about degeneracy as an abstract concept, but few realize that our daily choices can lead us down that path. Stoic philosophy, with its profound principles, not only helps us recognize degeneracy, but also points us to the opposite path, a life in harmony with nature and the cosmic reason. When we understand the value of virtue, we can change our perspectives and actions to avoid falling into the vortex of degeneracy. Let's explore the lessons from Stoic philosophy to live a life full of meaning. Don't forget to subscribe, share the video, and turn on notifications so you won't miss out on exciting content. Thank you for watching.